Earlier this morning, President Trump met with House Republicans where he reiterated his support for embattled House Speaker Mike Johnson. The president was also expected to meet with Senate Republicans, but that meeting didn't take place. That may have had something to do with the election of South Dakota Senator John Thun, who today was chosen to succeed Mitch McConnell as Senate Majority Leader. Thun has publicly expressed his disdain for President Trump and his agenda, at one point telling the president-elect to stay out the Senate leadership fight, despite the president having a vested interest in the outcome. For more, let's bring in former Special Assistant to President Trump and former Director of Strategic Communications for Trump-Pence 2020, Marc Lotter. It's good to see you, Marc, as always. President Trump and Biden met for nearly 2 hours in the Oval Office. Biden spent the entire campaign laughingly warning the country about the threat President Trump posed to democracy, and yet, surprisingly, that didn't come up in their meeting today. I was hoping that Trump just might have leaned over and asked Biden if he actually voted for Trump rather than Kamala, after the way the Democrats threw Biden under the bus, you know. But Joe Biden was virtually beaming today. What was your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, first off, it was great to see that the transition is moving forward and that Joe Biden is committed to doing a smooth transition with the incoming Trump team. But ultimately, you know, this is part of Joe Biden's legacy. He's trying to rebuild his legacy. So obviously, the fact that the majority of the American people, an overwhelming majority of the American people, voted for Donald Trump, the America First agenda, it's best for Joe Biden, who's trying to repair his damaged legacy, to at least look like he's on the side of the winning team after the fact.
Well, yes, and let's not forget that Barack Obama also pledged a smooth transition while Barack Obama and some other bad actors were planning that hoax, Crossfire Hurricane. Let's talk about this Senate leadership vote. Senator John Thun will now replace Mitch McConnell as Majority Leader. According to Thun's own very public statements, he's not a big supporter of President Trump. Listen.
If Donald Trump is the Republican nominee, would you support him?
Well, I'm hoping, Leanne, to have other options, and I think we're gonna have a robust primary process. So you know that is a hypothetical, and I know everybody says, "Well, it's a cop out. You don't want to answer that question," but it truly is at this point very preliminary. And I guess what I would tell you is, I hope we have other options, and I think we will.
I think people in this country are ready for generational change, and I think a change in tone in our politics. There's an exhaustion factor, there's a fatigue factor with the American people, and always a lot of drama around the former president.
Now, Marc, we all remember Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell systematically working to undermine President Trump back in 2016, keeping Democrats in the game so they could unleash hell on this country. What level of concern exists with you about Senator Thun?
Well, the big difference, I think, between now and then is the majority of the American people. That not only did Donald Trump achieve a historic victory in the Electoral College, he also has a majority in the of the popular vote. And Senator Thun will have to be on the mind to look out for folks like Liz Cheney, Jeff Flake, so many others, because if he's going to go to the voters in his home state, which is overwhelmingly red, and he doesn't have a record of supporting Donald Trump, you can bet he will end up on the retirement track, just like all of those other so-called Republicans who couldn't get on board with Donald Trump. I don't think Senator Thun would do that. I think he knows this is the mandate of the people, and he's going to be seen getting on board that train rather than getting under it.